And late today, President Trump signing a new executive order to protect whistleblowers at the Department of Veterans Affairs. The newly signed executive order also sets up a task force to investigate fraud and abuse at the VA.
Today's action is historic, but it is only the start of our reforms. Our veterans have secured this nation with their blood, sweat, and tears, and we will not let them down. These are our great, great people. We will always stand with those who stood for freedom and who stood for us.
One issue the president did not address is a so-called troop tax, which would force veterans to pay thousands of dollars in fees to use the GI Bill. It's a story we first brought you last week. The hearing on this so-called troop tax has now been postponed, but the issue is still sparking outrage. Paul Rieckhoff is the founder and CEO of Iraq and Afghanistan Veterans of America. He met with the VA secretary today. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Greta. Good to see you again.
I am delighted that we have protections for whistleblowers. I'm good for him, right?
Yeah, it's absolutely necessary. I mean, we know about the scandal that happened at the VA that started in Phoenix. There's been a real problem trying to clean the VA up. I think Secretary Bob McDonnell, Shulkin's predecessor, tackled it, but he needs more tools. And I met today with Secretary Shulkin, along with other leading veterans groups, and he needs the tools to be able to fire people and hold them accountable. But there are bigger issues. I mean, the elephant in the room that you addressed is that the president didn't come out against the tax on the GI Bill. We wanted to hear a clear statement from him. Your piece last week really went viral. Went all across the country. People were shocked to hear that there was a congressional proposal to put a tax or a fee on enlisted soldiers who want to use their GI Bill. So there's been a swift response all across the country. IAVA has been leading the charge with the VFW and other groups. We asked people to sign a petition at our website, iava.org. Over 10,000 folks have signed it. We want to make sure this is gone. We know they may come after our GI Bill again. They're trying to save money, and we need to send a clear message that the GI Bill is off limits. And the president needs to send that message. And unfortunately, today he was silent.
Do you think that, I mean, after all the outrage, is that why they canceled the hearing on the so-called troop tax?
I heard from people on the Hill that they saw my piece with you last week. They were getting phone calls, messages on their Facebook page. This was people power. You know, you were able to help us share this story, and veterans groups across the country, shared our stories. We use the hashtag Defend the GI Bill. If you go online, check Defend the GI Bill, you'll hear stories from veterans who said, keep your hands off my GI Bill. This is the best investment our government's ever made, and especially in a time of war, it should be off limits. It's a cost of war. If we're going to send people to war, we should pay for our GI Bill and not try to nickel and dime them. So we got to keep this message up.
That's where you and I disagreed last week, is that you talk about the cost. I just think I think it's just shameful that we don't take care of our vets that way. I mean,
I don't think we disagree.
I'm embarrassed. I mean, I don't get to the whether the economic issue, which of course you're right on. But I don't even. I'm just too embarrassed that we would do that to the GIs.
And so were Americans of all political backgrounds. And you saw politicians from both sides making strong statements to stand with us. And we got to make sure they don't try this again. I mean, last year they tried to cut it by $3 billion. Now they're trying a fee or a tax. And there have been these ideas before. We think they're politically radioactive, and it's good to see that the American public has our back. We also need them to have their back on other issues like suicide. We've got a bill in the Senate that will hopefully come to the House soon called the Deborah Sampson Act that will focus on women veterans. We saw some alarming suicide statistics about the number of women veterans who are losing to suicide. We need support on that. We've been working closely with Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard, a veteran, Tim Walz, bipartisan support in the Senate. We need support behind that bill, and we need the president to say he's going to support it as well.
Well, I got to tip your hat. You're the one who brought the issue up, and we just went with you. But it really is sort of, it makes it all worth it when when you can be effective as a group to try to at least do something. Anyway, so thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Greta. Appreciate it.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me, or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.